Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 237.
On Now You Know. We're brought to you by our awesome Patreon patrons. Support creating independent news every week by heading over to patreon.com/nowyouknow, and there you'll find some awesome perks.
And we're sponsored by BigBattery.com, with the best battery prices in the USA guaranteed. If you've got something you need to power, from homes to cars, RVs to boats, and much more, BigBattery.com has you covered, offering the newest battery tech. Use the code NOWYOUKNOW to save 5% off your purchase today at BigBattery.com.
We want to thank Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video.
We've talked about how Surfshark can help you watch your favorite shows on different streaming services like Netflix, even if they're only shown in different countries from where you live.
But Surfshark does so much more.
Do you like being tracked when you're surfing the web and buying stuff online? Oh, you don't?
Then you'll want to use Surfshark to protect your privacy online.
Surfshark encrypts all the data you send over the internet, so your passwords, photos, messages, everything you do online stays private.
It's your data. Why should you just give it to anyone online who wants to track you?
Another great feature is Surfshark's Clean Web, which blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts.
But I'll be honest, there are two big reasons why I was always hesitant to install Surfshark. One, I thought it was going to be a big hassle to install.
Wrong. It's easy to set up Surfshark on all your devices, iPhone, Android, Mac, or PC.
And two, I thought I'd have to get multiple accounts for all my different devices.
Wrong again. Surfshark is the only VPN to offer one account to use on an unlimited number of devices.
Use our code to get 83% off and 3 extra months for free.
Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it out for yourself risk-free.
Go check it out. Link is in the description below. All right, so it's official. Elon is now the Technoking.
I heard about Technoking in Elon. First of all, what's a Technoking?
I have no idea.
Is it like music techno, or is it technology king?
Yeah, I guess. So this was an SEC filing. This has made it official. They filed with the SEC, making Elon Technoking of Tesla, and Zachary Kirkhorn, formerly the CFO, actually he's still the CFO, he has become the Master of Coin.
Is that a reference to Game of Thrones?
It is indeed, and I'm trying to pick from the, 4 or 5 Masters of Coin on Game of Thrones that I know about. Which would Zachary be most like?
I don't know. They're not...
Littlefinger spent all the money.
Right. He put the whole realm in debt.
Braun of Blackwater, I think he spent most of it on brothels.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see what he did with it because the series ended. You'd want like a Tyrion probably. Okay.
But in the SEC filing, which is a real filing, by the way, they kept their original titles as well. Okay. So maybe we'll see more companies now, naming their CFOs as Master of Coin.
I doubt it. But also Jerome Guillen, who was the president of automotive, is now the president of Tesla Heavy Trucking.
I don't remember that from Game of Thrones.
No, it's just, I guess they gave him a boring title. It's not fair. Why isn't he the, Master of the Truck?
Master of Big Wagons. I kind of wonder if they did this Technoking filing to divert our attention away from the fact that Guillen is leaving as the president of automotive.
I don't think so. I mean, Guillen has had basically every job at Tesla besides like CEO.
True.
He's been in charge of trucking before. He's been in charge of all the vehicles. Now he was
in charge of sales.
He's done it all.
Yeah.
So wherever he goes, I'm fairly confident that they're going to see success.
All right, so according to @CodingMark, we're seeing refresh Model S's leaving Fremont. Now, he claims there's also Plaids in there, but I got to say, I don't think there's any way to tell a refreshed S from a Plaid S.
At least not when it's parked up on a truck. I mean, these are definitely refreshed because they have the blacked out trim, and there's a couple of things that like true car people can spot, like, oh, the bumper's slightly different.
Right. No yoke spotted yet, though.
No yokes. That's interesting. They could always fit them on later.
Maybe.
Or maybe most people don't want the yokes.
I'd get the yoke.
I know you'd get the yoke, but I think most people wouldn't. I don't know. Leave it down in the comments below.
So you may have seen last week headlines that the People's Liberation Army, a.k.a. China's military, won't allow Teslas on their military bases.
Oh my gosh, where's my phone? I got to sell Tesla stock. I mean...
Why?
Load app.
Hang on.
What? I gotta sell.
What are you doing?
I mean, didn't you hear? You just said that China's military is against Tesla.
Yeah.
That means ipso facto that China, the whole government of China, is against Tesla. That's the biggest car market in the world. I mean, Tesla sold almost like 150,000 cars there last year. That was 30% of their worldwide sales. I gotta sell my Tesla shares. Holy smokes. What?
Okay, how about if we dive in a little deeper than the headlines? If you read the notices left on Teslas that were parked on or near Chinese military bases, it just says you can't park there because of Tesla's cameras. They can't allow the cars to park on military bases because there's cameras in them.
Okay, so what are you saying?
Well, military bases aren't big fans of cameras, okay? You know troop positions and secrets plus cameras equals bad.
Okay, right. For spying things, you don't want cameras on military. Okay, yes.
Right. So it's not that China is against Tesla. It's just they don't want these cars that have cameras built in to be parked on them and perhaps recording them. Now, Elon's aware of this, and he denies that there's any kind of spying going on. He told a prominent virtual Chinese forum over the weekend, there's a very strong incentive for us to be very confidential with any information. If Tesla used cars to spy in China or anywhere, we will get shut down. So this is basically just another FUD thing to get eyeballs on news stories.
It really seems like the FUD is back out in force now that Tesla has come down from its all-time high.
Yeah.
The FUD's like, oh, perfect. Now's the time. People are going to look. The graph will look red because it's coming down. We'll go, ha, ha, ha. Tesla problem, China bad. And everyone kind of freaks out about it.
Yeah, people so quickly forget that, yes, Tesla is down in stock price from its high, but it's still amazingly up from where it was a year ago. And so, yeah, a lot of people are walking around like, oh my God, why is Tesla down? It's not down. It's just, I mean, there was this big surge for a while, and now it's back to where it should be if you kind of just drew a linear line.
Right, and the market has had a bunch of different corrections.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, let's calm down. So was the fear that Tesla was going to work for the U.S. government to send the camera footage to the military, and then they were going to know?
No, I think it's just that the Chinese military knew that Teslas had these cameras. I mean, you could have parked your Subaru with a dash cam on it, and they probably wouldn't have been too happy about it either. Now, remember that Russian guy last summer that tried to hack into the Tesla Gigafactory in Nevada?
Oh, how could I forget Igor Igorovich Khrushchev? He offered a Tesla employee $1 million if he'd help him get malware onto Tesla's computers so he could ransom sensitive Tesla information.
But the employee went to the FBI, wore a wire, and they ended up catching Igor as he tried to escape at the airport.
Well, Igor just plea bargained and pled guilty to conspiracy to intentionally cause damage to a protected computer. This means that he won't be looking at up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Instead, he'll get between 4 to 10 months with 3 years of supervised release and only a fine of $15,000.
Now, I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like this is letting him off too easy. I mean, if he had achieved what he wanted to achieve, he would have, ransomed this information against Tesla for, who knows, millions of dollars. I mean, if he's willing to offer an employee $1 million to help him. So that's a huge crime. And all he gets basically is 4 to 10 months in jail. This whole idea of being able to ransom Tesla. So let's say he achieved it, right? He broke into their computers. He gets this information about an upcoming secret project of Tesla's. And then he's like, you must give me $3 million, Mr. Musk, if you don't want me to let it out. Huh? What is it? You want the secret about this Model Y to come out, huh? Who cares?
Right.
Do you think Tesla really would have given him the money?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's like, what? Yeah, Tesla could just make the announcement that day. Like, okay, fine. We'll just make the announcement now. Now you have nothing.
I mean, do you think there's a folder on a computer somewhere that's like upcoming Tesla secrets?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the secrets were. If it was like, the formulation of their battery, or if it was like how they make their motors so efficient, or if it was, plans for a particular car that he could then go sell to somebody super illegally.
I think Tesla should have a folder on the computer that says that, but it's just full of junk.
That would probably be something that Elon would want to do.
All right, I'm excited. The full self-driving button is coming any day now. We already should have seen it over the weekend, and we didn't, so maybe it's going to be today.
Well, you didn't see Elon's tweet on Saturday?
What?
The Hallmark's catalog said, we don't have any info on whether full self-driving beta 8.3 and the button will be shipping this weekend. Shouldn't be too long a wait now. Hang in there. Top priority is making sure it's a quality release. If we hear anything, we'll keep you posted. And then Elon responded, he said, given significant architectural changes, including fundamental improvements to pure vision, there is a limited value to testing 8.x, hoping to upload version 9.0 and button next month.
Okay, so next month. So April. And I guess it's even more exciting now because it'll be a fundamentally different build. This is really so exciting.
No, it is exciting. It's been exciting this whole time. Why did he say that it was going to come out like at the end of this week and then he pushes it off a month?
But he has an amazing ability to, you'd think, disappoint, right? Oh, it didn't come out this week. But then you're so excited about the new thing that he's offering that you get excited again.
I don't know. I think plenty of people are disappointed about this.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed, but I'm also pretty excited that it's a new build. All right, so Rivian has just released information on their adventure network. And there's 3 pieces to this charging puzzle. We've been asking for weeks, really, to see what Rivian's up to. Maybe they saw our videos. I don't know.
Or they read our minds.
Maybe. So there's going to be Rivian waypoints, the adventure network, and wall chargers. So let's go through each of them. All right, so Rivian waypoints. There'll be 10,000 plus chargers planned by the end of 2023.
Wow.
These will be kind of the equivalent of Tesla destination chargers.
Oh, okay.
So they will be 11.5 kilowatts of charging speeds.
So that's like level 2, like a high level 2, because normally level 2 is 6.6 kilowatts. This will be 11.5, which is a welcome, increase in power.
Exactly. Perfect for when you're at a hotel or at a restaurant, and that's where they'll be. You'll be able to check on your status with your Rivian app. Sound familiar?
It does.
So basically, yes, they've kind of copied Tesla here. Awesome. Next is the Rivian Adventure Network, and this is exclusively for Rivian owners. Sound familiar as well?
That does sound familiar.
This will be 3,500 plus DC fast chargers at 600 sites by the end of 2023. So basically a supercharger network, but just for Rivian owners. You'll be able to get up to 140 miles of range in 20 minutes on their R1T or the R1S. Automatic charging, just pull up and plug in. No need for credit cards and all that stuff. You'll be able to use your in-vehicle nav to find the next charger. Again, all of this sounds very familiar if you're a Tesla driver. And they'll have charging rates of over 200 kilowatts initially, and then 300 kilowatts plus in the near future. These will be powered by 100% renewable energy.
That's great. And take a look at the map. Also looks pretty familiar.
Yes. And then lastly is the Rivian wall chargers for homes. You'll be able to get up to 25 miles of range per hour of charge. These will have 11.5 kilowatts of charging speed, Wi-Fi connectivity for over-the-air updates, weatherproof for indoor or outdoor use, 5-year warranty, and compatible with other EVs using a J1772 plug. No price yet. To give you some idea of what this is going to look like, by June of 2016, Tesla had installed its 600th supercharger location in the world. But I think to get a better idea of where Rivian will be in 2023 when it installs its 600th Rivian Adventure Network charger location in the US and Canada, you should think about June 2018. That is when Tesla had installed its 600th supercharger in North America. Now, to be clear, I'm not making fun of Rivian here. On the contrary, I basically think that this plan is copying Tesla, but I think that's great. I mean, no other auto manufacturer has even attempted this. Big Auto simply relies on Electrify America and EVgo and others for their charging network. Now, Jesse and I traveled across North America in the summer of 2016 with even fewer superchargers than Rivian plans for 2023, and we could pretty much easily make it across and back all of the US and Canada. By the summer of 2018, with 600 superchargers, North America was pretty well covered, in my opinion. So I think in 2.5 years, Rivian owners are going to be really pleased with the Adventure Network. And as a soon-to-be Rivian pickup truck owner, this is really exciting news.
So obviously the map that they showed looked great. It's very reminiscent of Tesla supercharger networks. So I think that they're not even going to consider Electrify America stations, which I think is really smart, because I think that the Electrify America network is going to be kind of the tragedy of the commons. We've already seen that like a lot of them don't work very consistently, which is not what you want when you want charging infrastructure.
Well, I want to carry on this conversation in Patreon bonus story. I want to talk more about exclusive versus non-exclusive networks, but it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. Let's move on with the news.
So we reported last week on the Hindenburg research report that casts doubt on Lordstown Motors' claim of having 100,000 pre-orders.
In that report, Hindenburg claims that the Endurance pickup truck caught fire during one of its first road tests. We now have the police report of that January incident. The police officer who got called to the incident reported,
"Upon arrival, I observed the truck fully engulfed in the eastbound 12-mile road lanes just east of Copper Creek Lane. I spoke with the driver of the vehicle, Parakalathon Pathmanathon, who advised me that he was the director of powertrain for Lordstown Motors. Paramathon explained that the vehicle was a 2021 Lordstown Endurance that had cleared testing inside the facility. He stated that this was the first road test for the Endurance and added that it's a fully electric truck. He then stated that he took 2 of his co-workers, Simon Palambi and Akshay Sharma, for the road test with him, and they were in it for about 10 minutes before it caught on fire. I asked him what happened, and he stated they were driving the vehicle and noticed the truck was driving weird. He stated he pulled over and the Endurance caught on fire from underneath the truck.
Lordstown said that the issue was due to human error in building the truck, and now that it has been automated, it should fix the issue.
And CEO Steve Burns has been busy this week saying on all sorts of media that there's always haters out there. And I think we should discuss this more in Patreon bonus stories too, because there's a lot to get into.
Yeah, so if you want to check those out, you can head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow. Support us for as little as $1 a month, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
So I don't know if you remember this, but back in March of 2017, prior to the Tesla Model 3 coming out, BMW's head of sales, Ian Robertson, said this to Car and Driver. The Model 3 will come, but I'm not sure of what volume it will come with. I'm not sure of the price point it will come with, and I'm not sure how good the car will be.
Robertson also claimed that BMW's iX would be a competitor to the Model 3. Fast forward 4 years later, BMW is now saying that the iX, which should start deliveries in early 2022,
so another year from now,
will have a starting price in the US in the mid $80,000.
So let's recap the stats so we know where we are so far. So battery pack.
A gross energy content of more than 100 kilowatt hours.
Okay, that's a big battery. Range?
More than 300 miles based on the EPA standard.
Okay, and then powertrain?
2 motors for a total of 370 kilowatts or 500 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds, and charging up to 200 kilowatts of charging speed.
Now, 4 years ago, Robertson said, I think that Musk is moving from being a startup to being a full-blown company, and he's beginning to understand some of the challenges that brings. Those are the sort of challenges we don't have. We are able to productionize things and move quickly in that regard.
Yeah, very quick. 5 years after the Model 3 came out, BMW will release an EV that is way less efficient and way more expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're very quick. Very, very, very quickly able to productionize.
Do you remember, though, back in 2017 when it was like, the Tesla killers are coming? And this was one of the ones they listed. And it's like, when BMW comes on the scene, watch out, Tesla.
This iX is going to put the Tesla out of its business.
Yeah. So, I mean, this car is not in the Model 3 price range. It doesn't meet it on anything in terms of range, in terms of battery size, in terms of efficiency.
In terms of speed, I mean,
right.
You can spend less and get a faster vehicle.
Right. So basically, it's outdated technology that they've been working on for years, and this is it. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, but you do have to consider the market that they're going after, which is BMW drivers.
Let's keep going with the BMW here.
Okay.
Remember when the BMW i3 came out way back in 2013? And we drove it and we loved it.
Yep.
Well, now 8 years later, the next in the BMW i Series is finally coming to production, the i4.
BMW is calling it a fully electric 4-door Grand Coupe. And last week, BMW released a few hints at its specs.
Yeah, there will be different versions with up to 590 kilometers of range, WLTP range, and 300 miles EPA range.
Okay, can we just stop for a second? 590 kilometers is 366 miles. So you might be saying, like, that's fantastic.
Wait, so Europe gets that car?
Europe gets the car that goes 366 miles, and America gets the same car that can go up to 300 miles.
Wait, so they have two different versions of the car?
No, it's the same version. It's, again, we've talked about...
Do we have more hills here?
We've talked about WLTP range before. You know, it stands for the Worldwide Harmonized, whatever. Basically, should just stand for, less than predicted or something like that. It's not a good measure of range because it's very optimistic. And as you get into the larger battery packs and ranges, it gets thrown off by a percentage, which means that the mileage gets thrown off completely.
Why don't they just stick to one standard and announce that? And EPA would be the standard since it's the closest to reality.
Yes.
So, I mean, they know the car is going to get 300 miles of range. They know that.
or a little less, maybe.
Right. So just stick to that number.
Right.
Like, don't tell Europe that you're getting an amazing car with 366 miles of range. That's just whatever. Okay. So power output.
390 kilowatts or 530 horsepower. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds.
Nice.
So weird that the i4 has better performance than the iX, but whatever.
I mean, I think it's a lighter car.
That makes sense.
Peter Noda, member of the board of management of BMW, responsible for customer brands and sales, commented on the unveiling. With its sporty looks, best-in-class driving dynamics, and zero local emissions, the BMW i4 is a true BMW. It makes the heart of the BMW brand now beat fully electric.
Except not really.
Wait, so their whole brand is electric?
No,
just the heart of the company.
The heart of the company
I see.
not the majority of the sales of the company. But let's keep talking about BMW. This is fun.
Okay, well, BMW Chief of Development Frank Weber told investors and analysts last week that he thinks BMW over-the-air software updates could be worth 5 billion euro by the end of the decade.
Wait, I don't get it. I mean, Weber thinks that over-the-air software updates will increase the value of their cars by that much?
No, he thinks that by charging BMW customers for each upgrade and update, BMW can bring in 5 billion euro more in revenue. See, BMW is investing millions so that starting in 2025, they can have software upgrades in their cars.
Something that, of course, Tesla has now and has had for about a decade.
You're right. BMW wants to be able to offer driver assistant features, light and sound functions, and even changes to the chassis itself.
And charge their customers for these updates.
They're also thinking of offering temporary upgrades, especially to customers who buy their cars used. And they're not alone. VW and Mercedes are also doing it.
Okay, so, I mean, I want to be careful here. Tesla obviously does charge for some software things.
Right.
And in fact,
full self-driving.
Sometimes they'll even limit your battery pack in software unless you pay them money.
Right.
So,
I mean, there's premium connectivity for $9.99 a month.
Right. But I mean, that's not a huge moneymaker for Tesla, especially because it's a flat rate for something that Tesla's going to have to pay a variable amount for. So if you're, traveling a lot, or you go out to your car to watch Netflix, every day, there's rumor that they can shut it off for no reason at all. But we actually haven't heard anyone have that happen to them yet.
I think this is the difference between these two types of companies. Tesla wants to offer these features as just a thing that makes you feel good about your product. You go out to your car one day and it's got new features. Whereas VW, BMW, Mercedes, they want to find a way to make money off it.
Right. And I mean, Tesla has offered a lot of free upgrades that I think we all take for granted. I mean, last winter, for example, my Model 3 didn't have a lot of regen braking because the battery was cold all the time. It was cold soaked battery. There was no way to tell it to warm up. This year, I have an update where if I turn on my climate control, which I can do from inside my house or anywhere in the world from my phone, it will preheat the battery pack.
And they just had another update the other day that gives more regen to your braking in the winter.
So
and that was free.
And that was completely free. That's not to mention fart mode. That's not to mention the horn mode. There is so many different things that Tesla has offered to people who bought their cars, and then the car got more and more valuable because Tesla offered these all for free. And BMW essentially wants to charge money for that.
Yep.
So that kind of tells you a little bit something about the companies themselves.
So VW had its virtual Power Day on March 15th. Basically, this was their copy on Tesla's Battery Day. And we can cut to the chase here. I mean, VW claims that they will be reducing battery costs by up to 50% and will have 6 new battery factories in Europe alone with 240 gigawatt hours of production by the end of this decade.
VW also announced new charging partnerships with BP in the UK, Iberdrola in Spain, and Enel in Italy.
VW intends to have 18,000 fast charging points in Europe by 2025, and the press loved it.
Headlines everywhere read how Volkswagen aims to beat Tesla at their own game.
And VW stock shot up 25% in one day.
Because everyone and their brother is looking for the next big EV stock.
And that's for about a day, and then they lose interest and move on to the next. Have you been noticing that lately?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like, this is the next big thing. No, this is the next big thing.
And Volkswagen seems to have shocked South Korean battery suppliers by announcing that VW will be moving to a new cell technology and making its future batteries by themselves, not Samsung, LG, or SK.
VW has placed a new 10-year, $14 billion order with Northvolt, which is the Swedish battery startup formed by 2 former Tesla executives. And VW has increased its ownership of Northvolt to a 50% stake and now basically owns Northvolt's Salzgitter, Germany factory.
So this is actually, I mean, I do have to give VW credit. It's a big move.
It is.
It's nice that they have a battery technology in the future, similar to GM. Actually, it's a very similar battery technology to GM's.
I mean, it is. And this is exactly out of what happened a few months ago when Herbert Diess met with the board and said, basically, look, either follow my road plan or probably he said, I'm out of here. And they followed his road plan, which is we got to make our own batteries. And this was a smart move.
Yeah, I think lots of people hold this opinion, but I think that Volkswagen probably has the best chance of any of the traditional automakers to make it out alive of this next transition into EVs. I'm excited to see where they go with it. So some news out of Tilburg, Netherlands. Now, you've been there before, Zach, right?
Oh, yeah, on the Model 3 European road trip.
Well, the Tesla Tilburg facility has been putting together Model S's and Model X's since 2015.
I thought the Model S and X were built at the Fremont factory.
Well, they are, but Tesla ships them technically unassembled, and at Tilburg, they are then assembled, getting around some tariffs and allowing Tesla to sell cars in Europe for less money.
Now, they're going to have to start assembling the refreshed Model S and X and the Plaid Model S and X there?
Well, that's the thing. The assembly plant part of Tilburg is going to be shut down.
Wait, they're closing Tilburg?
No, just the assembly plant. So at most, we're talking about 96 jobs will be lost, but the rest of Tilburg will stay open.
Interesting. So why are they closing the assembly plant? Don't they need to deliver Model S's and X's in the future?
They do, but maybe not from Fremont. So let's go to the German Tesla website. You'll see that the Model S and X deliveries won't be taking place until November.
What?
Whereas in the US, it's 10 to 14 weeks away, which is right around June.
I'm so confused.
And if we look at the Model Y deliveries for Germany, they're coming mid-2021. Compare that to the United States, which is 1 to 10 weeks.
I get the Model Y because that's coming when Tesla's Gigafactory Berlin is up and running. But why November for...
I think that this could mean that Tesla is planning on setting up a refresh Model S and X line in Giga Berlin, and we might be expecting deliveries from there in November.
Oh, wait. Okay, so you're saying that basically the reason we're not seeing deliveries of refresh Model S and X in Europe until November is they're going to come from Berlin.
And that's why you don't need Tilburg to assemble them anymore.
This must be big news.
So far, I haven't heard anyone talk about it. Everyone just reporting on Tilburg itself, just like, well, Tilburg's closing. But like,
no,
why?
This makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Doesn't it make perfect sense? I mean, the crazy part is that they're not selling any Model S's or X's in Europe for months, for practically the whole year.
And this is because the Model S and X refresh can't be built the same way.
Maybe? I don't know. I mean, that is another thing all to its own. What I'm saying here is that they wouldn't close Tilburg if they planned on shipping cars over from the United States. I'm sure that there's a lot of demand all over the world for these refreshed Model S's and X's, and especially the Plaid. I think that they're just going to focus on the United States and Canada deliveries for the time being.
Until Berlin. This would make sense because that would give Berlin a couple months chance to get the next line up and running for the refresh S and X.
Or Shanghai. Could be Shanghai as well.
Maybe. Yeah. Wait, I can't wait to find out.
But it would definitely not be from Texas, because then they'd still have to ship it over and they'd have to pay tariffs. Or Tesla's just thinking that they're going to pay huge tariffs on these very expensive cars.
Are we crazy? Comment below.
So IDRA has just announced that they have an order for a 8,000-ton die casting machine placed by a leading global manufacturer for new energy vehicles.
Tesla?
Who else would be the leading global manufacturer? Yes, it's probably going to be Tesla.
Wait, so how are they going to transport an 8,000-ton machine from Italy? Is there a plane that can carry that?
It's not. It doesn't weigh 8,000 tons.
You just said it weighs 8,000 tons.
No.
You just said that.
8,000 tons is the clamping force. So just like a crocodile has a bite force of like 3,700 pounds, but only weighs like 2,200 pounds.
Crocodiles weigh 2,200 pounds?
The biggest and strongest biting ones, apparently. So.
Oh, I don't want to run into one of those.
But basically, this gigapress can bite with the force of 42 blue whales stacked on top of each other.
I thought Tesla already had a gigapress.
Those were only measly 6,000-ton presses, which were used to make the rear body castings of the Model Y. This one is stronger and bigger.
What do they need that for?
So general manager of IDRA, Ricardo Ferrerio, said this giant machine will be used for the production of chassis components of larger vehicles, such as pickup trucks, fully electric light goods vehicles, and SUVs.
Wait, pickup trucks? They're gonna press the under casting in this?
They're not going to press it. They're going to mold it.
Sorry. It's a press. I just keep saying press.
It doesn't... A stamping machine.
Oh, it molds.
Well, that stamps.
Okay. It's a molder.
This press.
Can we call it a molder?
It's usually called a press.
Damn.
In the biz. In the press.
But it molds. But it makes molds. It presses molds.
It presses together
sandwiches, paninis.
It presses together to the two halves of a mold, and then you squirted a bunch of molten aluminum.
I know, but what's the quickest way to say that?
Molds.
It molds. Okay, said that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So it's going to mold the underbody parts of the Cybertruck.
I don't know. 'Cause
Yes, of course it is.
But the Cybertruck was supposed to be origami. It's supposed
The
to be
outside.
folded. Right, but I thought he said the body. So, I mean, it does make sense that basically you'd have a bunch of folded up pieces, but then you'd also need, parts for the battery pack or parts for, to attach the wheels onto. It's not necessarily just going to be like you fold it up and it's done. But if you think about it, there's no stamping. Stamping is very expensive because you need stamping machines, which are huge, humongous, big, smushy things that take sheets of metal and smush them into the proper shape.
I'm so confused because gigapresses sound like that, but it's not.
It's
those are
not
those
that.
are 3-story tall. This is only like 1 story tall.
Like 1.5.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
this is a much smaller thing. It's going to be a lot cheaper, and you're going to be able to make the parts much cheaper. Instead of having to weld together a bunch of components, you just mold it all together. I think that this is huge news for the Cybertruck. That basically Tesla is getting one of these presses. They're probably going to start working on it. And I'm sure as soon as that's up and running, we're going to start to see Cybertrucks.
Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners.
And there you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line.
So Jobin Bevert, the founder and CEO of the Santa Cruz, California's Joby Aviation, announced last week that they will be going public in a SPAC when it merges with acquisition company Reinvent Technology Partners, or RTP, on the New York Stock Exchange. The merger should be completed by the end of the second quarter.
Oh, right. This is the electric VTOL aircraft that has been working in stealth mode for about a decade until it bought Uber's Air division last year. Now they have about 700 employees.
Right. This is the 6-rotor, 4-passenger electric VTOL that can take off quietly and fly virtually noise-free at speeds of up to 150 to 200 miles an hour. They should be raising enough money, $1.6 billion from the SPAC, which they say should give them enough runway until they start passenger flights in 2024.
Joby now has over 1,000 test flights and are hoping to achieve FAA certification in 2023. And they plan to have their first commercial flights in an American city in 2024.
Now, this is so exciting to think about. I mean, electric VTOL flights in maybe 3 years.
That is pretty crazy. This is some sci-fi stuff. Lucid Motors' European patent for their upcoming Gravity SUV reveals some sketches which might give us an idea of what the new SUV would look like.
Now, there have already been images that Lucid previously teased, so I don't really see what the big deal is here.
I mean, it's not really a big deal, but people are excited about it because this is, it's happening. I just think that it's important to remember that Lucid has a long way to go before they get to the Gravity SUV. They're still working on production for their first model, the Lucid Air, which is due out in the second half of this year. So if you're thinking that you're going to save up and buy the Gravity, well, you should probably start saving now because it'll probably be very expensive, but it's probably not going to be for a little while. It's just exciting to see pictures of pretty cars.
So last week, the UK government cut subsidies for EV buyers from £3,000 to £2,500, and it lowered the price cap for eligible cars from £50,000 to £35,000.
This is the second time in a year that the UK has cut the subsidy. It now has been cut by £1,000 in the last 12 months.
When it was originally introduced in 2011, the subsidy was for £5,000 per EV.
Wait, so if the price cap has been cut to £35,000, then that means that the Model 3 will no longer be eligible for the incentive in the UK.
Yeah, a UK government source told the Times of London, "We're ending the Tesla subsidy. Taxpayers should not be subsidizing people to buy £50,000 cars."
Okay. And The Guardian is reporting that Tesla is the only auto manufacturer calling on the British government to raise taxes on gasoline and diesel fuel, along with higher fees on ICE cars.
Yeah, Tesla says supporting zero-emission vehicle uptake via mechanisms to make new fossil-fueled cars pay for the damage they cause is entirely reasonable and logical. The result can be a revenue-neutral system for the government. And I kind of wonder if this isn't what caused the government to say, "Oh, stop being a fuss there, Tesla. Get out of here."
Right. I really want to know who this UK government source is because, first of all, it's not a Tesla-only subsidy. Secondly, taxpayers aren't subsidizing people to just buy $50,000 cars. They're $50,000 electric cars,
Right,
which have specific benefits. And I'm going to just go out on a limb here. What should the subsidy be? The subsidy should be the
total benefit to buying a particular car.
Right.
So none of the emissions that you're going to be putting out, none of the climate change that you're going to be causing with a traditional car.
Right. I mean, you're just not putting a price on all the damage that the other cars are doing. So you're just focusing on this one number that everyone can wrap their head around. Oh, the sticker price. But I mean, that's not the issue here. And if you want to limit the subsidy, then limit it up to that amount and say, okay, up to 50,000 will give you an incentive. Anything beyond that is on you.
Or have it diminish as it goes. I mean, there's lots of different ways to do it.
But you're absolutely right. It's not a Tesla incentive here, people. It's just that Tesla is one of the only EV makers of cars that can get the price this low.
So overall, I think that that's a pretty big loss.
I think you should get upset.
Yeah.
UK. It's not just because the government said it. Oh, well, that's it.
Right.
Write to your ministers and tell them to change it. All right, so Jesse and I reviewed the new Jeda tray, the Jeda SSD, and the Jeda hub for the Model 3 and Y. If your Model 3 or Y console is a wiry mess, Jeda has a great solution that has a hidden SSD drive and more USB ports and a wireless charger tray. You can check out our full review on the Now Let's Review channel, and if you watch that video, we'll tell you how you can win a Jeda tray, hub, and SSD that we're giving away to one lucky viewer.
Also, use our discount code NowYouKnow to save you $20 off the purchase price. Link down below.
All right, Eli is back with the Starman Report and all of your SpaceX news.
Welcome back to this special segment of the Starman Report, and there has been a lot of excitement happening this week in the world of space. The SpaceX Starship prototype SN11 is already sitting on the launch pad, and it's received approval from the FAA for its test flight. Elon Musk on Twitter shared photos of the first prototype of the Super Heavy booster for the Starship. Austin Bernard captured this awesome time-lapse footage of the Super Heavy being assembled in its bay. So at the same time as Elon Musk unveiled the Super Heavy booster, NASA conducted its second test of the SLS moon rocket.
Go for engine start.
H-buoys are on and engine starts has been okay.
So the future of the SLS project is in jeopardy as developments by SpaceX with the Falcon Heavy and Starship have made the SLS rocket much less compelling than it was when it was designed 10 years ago. And we know the future of the SLS is uncertain because NASA just confirmed this week that they've begun a study into the SLS rocket's affordability. So in other NASA news, the Perseverance rover, which landed on Mars earlier this month, is preparing for its first flight of its helicopter drone. So flying a helicopter on Mars may not sound like a big deal, but this is a critical test as we prepare for development of aircraft for both human and cargo transport across the surface of Mars. NASA this week also released footage on their YouTube channel of a 4K video map of the moon that was captured using the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and it gives a deeper dive into the geology and morphology of the moon. Thank you so much for watching this special segment of the Starman Report, and back to you, Zach and Jesse.
Thank you, Eli. And if you're looking for presents for your kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, or yourself, check out StarmanGifts.com. There you'll find Starman graphic novels, Starman suits for kids and adults, and so much more cool Starman stuff. All right, it's time for Going Green, brought to you by EcoWare. And this week, we've got Randy back with his mugs.
Hello, Zach, Jesse, and viewers. Today I thought I'd share a reflection and new mug idea I had. Each night I take a look at my solar panels with amazement, and I found it to be a little weird after a while. So after some thinking, I found that I was just plain proud of myself for living my values. So I decided to make a new mug with a new process. I started out by cutting out a piece of plastic film that I found, and then I used a little water and clay to help stick it onto the cup. After that, I brush on a nice thick underglaze onto the piece, and I can create a layer of color if I'd like to create a little atmosphere. After I let it dry, I can pick it off with a razor blade and reveal the image that was created. I hope that you enjoy. You can find my work over at EcoWare, as well as my website, randyshoot.com. Thanks so much for watching, and now you know.
Yeah, so head on over to EcoWare. You can find Randy's new batch of mugs. It's a limited supply, so get over there fast. We've got new designs every week. We've got the new Shanghai Gigafactory t-shirt, all in Chinese. And I double-checked it with my Chinese friends. This is correct.
Okay, interesting.
We carbon offset the manufacture, the shipping, and the life cycle of your purchase, and we plant a tree for every order.
And we help cap a well for every order, so your purchase is very carbon negative.
All right, no power walls for you.
Tesla announced last week that they will no longer be selling Powerwalls unless you are also buying one of their solar products.
Yeah, they said on their website, Powerwall is only available with the purchase of solar panels. Now, is this because they are basically not able to keep up with production, so they're trying to find any way they can to, limit the number that they're selling? I mean, they've already raised the price.
I think that this kind of prevents people from getting solar from one place and getting their Powerwalls from another. It forces a lot of people to switch over to Tesla Solar. So I think that that's a pretty smart move. And it's essentially because, you're right, they are production limited in terms of Powerwalls. So this is a good excuse for them to say, well, if you want Powerwalls, you've got to buy some solar panels.
Which, I mean, they go really well together.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for Into the Future. So GNB Group has just announced the largest vacuum isolation valve in the world. Check this out. It's 16.5 feet in diameter, and it can close in just 30 seconds.
This will be used in the Hyperloop TT's Hyperloops planned for Abu Dhabi, which could be ready as soon as 2 or 3 years, and the Chicago to Cleveland Hyperloop, which would be built in this decade.
Now, the cool thing is this valve can withstand 288,000 pounds of force, or the equivalent of 72 automobiles.
The gate will be used to close off sections of the Hyperloop for maintenance and emergencies. These valves will be tested in Hyperloop TT's Hyperloop test facility in Toulouse, France.
I want to go visit that facility.
Yeah, that's a big, big valve seal.
Do you think when they're passing things between different buildings in that facility, they're like, hey, just throw it in the Hyperloop? Thunk.
Could be. And, there's so many people who want to pick Hyperloop apart, and they're just like, it's stupid. What would happen if there was an emergency? It's like...
what happens when there's an emergency on a tunnel or a bridge now?
Or in a plane.
Yeah.
They're like, you'd be in this vacuum chamber. What would happen if it suddenly was released upon you? It's like, you do know that, like, airplanes have the same problem, right?
I also like when people are like, but it would be so fast. What would that feel like? And it's like, it would feel like a plane.
Right. You don't feel speed, you feel acceleration. Not to alarm you, the Earth is rotating at like 900 miles an hour. We're not like, whoa!
All right, it's time for sunspots. Wind turbine blades that have been spinning in the wind for decades and are now at the end of their life. What do you do with them?
Yeah, it's tough because they're not only huge, but they're usually made up of a composite of fiberglass and balsa wood. So I don't know, what do you do with them?
Well, HS2 Limited has announced a first in the world, a pilot program to repurpose these blades for use in concrete on a high-speed rail project.
In concrete?
Yeah, the plan is to chop up the blades and use the pieces when pouring concrete instead of using steel rebar. HS2 Limited's innovation manager, Rob Cairn, said, reusing old turbine blades reduces waste, cuts demand for new steel, and reduces the carbon generated during the production of concrete. If our world-first pilot project goes well, we could see a waste product from the energy industry becoming an essential material for the construction sector in the future.
I mean, I know that you can put fiberglass in concrete, but usually it's actual little fibers of glass. And that adds just general tensile strength. Are they talking about that, or are they talking about literally like chopping up the wind turbine and using big pieces as replacements for rebar?
Yeah, I think it's like basically replacing those pieces of rebar with pieces of wind turbine. So when I was reading the project materials, it seems like this stuff is going to go into basically just poured foundations, like really basic stuff, not like high-tech skyscraper stuff.
Okay. But I mean, this is fantastic. We're taking, wind turbines, which are already clean, they're producing clean energy, and we're able to recycle some of the waste products. If only we could do the same thing with, coal ash ponds. I don't read a lot of articles where they're
swimming pools. Would you like a cheap swimming pool?
I just don't read a lot of articles where they're like, we found a use for all this toxic sludge. It's like, nope, it's still toxic, it's still awful, and yet people are like,
wind turbines are wasteful. It's like, and they kill birds. Have you seen coal power plants?
Have you seen cats?
Right. Yeah.
You know what's amazing? By 2023, there'll be about 15,000 turbine blades that will have been decommissioned across the UK and the EU. And until now, those expired blades have either been just ground down and used as building materials or sent to energy waste incinerators.
Still, they're not useless pieces of waste that you'd think that, like, they're not garbage in that regard.
Right.
Which it just frustrates me when the people are just like, there's lots of waste. It's like, you got to compare apples to apples.
I know. And if you're thinking of going solar, but you have a lot of questions, our friends over at Energy Pal can help you. These guys can answer your questions, and it doesn't cost you a penny.
You can check out their link down below. Let them know that Zach and Jesse sent you.
All right, it's time for video contributor stories. Who do we got this week?
Nick is showing us this in Sonoma County, California.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Nick and Abby, and we are reviewing a ChargePoint charger. Why are we reviewing a ChargePoint charger? Because it's at one of Abby's favorite restaurants, Amy's Drive-Thru, in Rohnert Park, California, and that's in Sonoma County. And it's a free charger while you eat your lunch. And the restaurant is what I thought you might be interested in. This is Amy's Drive-Thru, and it is a all-vegetarian drive-thru, and they have their living roof there. And it's a good lunch, a good double veggie cheeseburger, milkshakes, pizza, all kinds of stuff.
We give it 4 out of 5 stars. Now you know.
It's got a green roof. I love
Pretty
that.
Cool. Yeah.
I'd want to go up there and just hang out. All right, it's time for the Patreon bonus stories. And if you want to check out Elon eating a chicken sandwich, you're not going to want to miss this Patreon bonus story. So head on over to patreon.com/nowyouknow and support us for as little as $1.
We're also going to be talking a little bit more about Lordstown and Rivian's charging network.
And we're back from the Patreon bonus stories.
I'm
and
sorry
I got
if I'm
Jesse's, I got his blood pressure way up, so just be nice to him.
Sorry if I'm a little hoarse. Yeah, that was a pretty
Intense.
intense episode.
All right, it's time for the shout outs. Who do we got this week?
We've got Jared Stewart,
Ronald Edwards,
Dennis He,
Vaclav Kritsovensky,
Jamie Coes,
Juan Galvez,
Chris Liu,
John Varnum,
Miguel Angel Rivera,
John Dane,
Randall S.,
Demakalon,
Luke Tennessee,
Ronald Lee Batista,
John Belinsky,
Mark Lang,
Norbert N. Friedrich,
Edward Campbell,
Henlo.
and Billy Boy.
Thank you so much for supporting us. We can't do the show without you.
All right, it's time for Elon's tweets of the week. And Elon has made a new song, and he's selling the song as a non-fungible token.
And he was going to sell it for 420 million Dogecoins.
That's about $25 million.
And then he said, actually, doesn't feel quite right selling this. Will pass.
I wouldn't have spent $25 million on it. Then he tweeted out this little meme. They don't know I own this song's non-fungible token.
Stupid meme about a stupid thing.
Then Elon retweeted SpaceX's video recap of last week's Starship SN10 test flight, and really cool video. And he said that SN11 is almost ready to fly.
He said the simulation really struggled to make this look real. Haha.
And then he posted first super heavy booster, and look at that person on the lift for scale. That is a big rocket.
So that's going to be the first stage for Starships. That's what's going to get it up into space, and then Starship can go do whatever it wants and come back down and land.
Marcus House says this is why they need that bridge crane temporary solution. Chop a hole in the top of the high bay for the crane. A very SpaceX-ish fix to the problem.
Elon said the reach round.
And then Jack Bayer said the first super heavy booster has been stacked.
Elon said the high bay is measured to fit.
Well, I'm glad, otherwise it wouldn't fit. And then Melanie said, Elon, how's the restaurant and bar coming along?
Floor is installed. Elevator is operational, waiting on the glass.
Ooh. Dr. Jordan Peterson said, Elon, I would like to have you as my guest on my YouTube channel.
Elon said, what would you like to talk about?
And he went on to say, we could talk about life, the universe, and everything. Hey, another reference to Douglas Adams, just like our book club. And then Momo But Faster said, my favorite thing about computer vision attack vectors is all the attacks have a Looney Tunes energy. Like, how far are we away from people painting tunnels on walls?
Elon laughed because it's true. And then Vinter Nick said, hey, Elon, Bell is once again raising my rural DSL price, yet doing nothing to improve the same old service. Already placed my deposit for Starlink. Throw me a bone and jump me up in line. For the love of all that is technical greatness, please.
And Elon said, coming soon. Then Elon posted music in zero gravity. I guess this is for the moon launch coming up. And then Babylon B said, all-seeing eye of Sauron unveiled at Facebook headquarters. And Elon's been laughing a lot on Twitter lately.
Elon's been having a good time.
Now look at this, Jesse. There are 12 black dots on the intersection of this image. Your brain will not let you see them all at once. How many can you see? I can only see 4.
I can see 4, but only in one particular spot that I look.
And Elon said, exclamation point. And then Trong Fan said, in 2004, Elon and Jeff Bezos met for a meal to discuss space. It was one of their few in-person interactions. The conversation they had perfectly captures the different approaches that they've taken to space exploration. Here's the story. And after reading the story, Elon said, wow, hard to believe that was 17 years ago. And then Pranay had a quote from Elon. What's the meaning of life? I came to a conclusion that what really matters is trying to understand the right questions to ask. And the more that we can increase the scope and scale of human consciousness, the better we are able to ask these questions. And Elon said,
this is important. So that's important. Keep that in mind.
And then Eric Berger said, this remarkable story of how Elon and his small team reached orbit in 2008 has gone largely untold until now. And he's plugging his book. And Elon said,
not quite how I would tell the story, but it's probably worth a read.
And then Kathy Wood, and this is important. She said, oh yes, I forgot to mention how scarce exponential growth opportunities are likely to become as artificial intelligence creates more winner-takes-most opportunities like autonomous taxi networks.
Then Elon said, when vast amounts of manufacturing are needed, as in robotaxis, this slows down rate of introduction, so maybe more like winner takes a quarter. Still great. So
that's a very important tweet.
That's a ponderer thing. Be thinking about that one. Let that simmer.
All right, we had a Patreon poll this week. What was the question and what were the results?
So we asked, when will we see the full self-driving button?
Oh, this is good because our Patrons are usually right.
So the most popular response was, if you factor in Elon time, we're looking at over 2 months.
Oh, so not April. This would put it more like May, June.
Yes, but the second most popular response was 2 to 3 weeks. Next month is that time frame.
Oh, so it could be next month.
It could be, or it could be 2 months. So 1 to 2 months.
You weren't helpful this time. All right, it's time for Community Mail Time.
Community Mail Time.
Our Patreon Paul from the Netherlands honored us by first investing some of his Now You Know Investing Club profits to donate these 5 beautiful beehives in Kenya a couple months ago. He supported local artists by having them build and then paint these beehives to protect them from the weather with the Tesla logo and... look at this, our logo. They'll be distributed soon, just before the new bee season. A donation of a custom beehive is still possible. Link to the GoFundMe is in the description below. And each beehive changes the life of one woman in Kenya by providing honey to sell and resources for raising her family, and her community will be able to protect their land from deforestation. So if you feel like giving, go over there and give.
Thank you so much for those pictures, Paul. They're really uplifting. Our buddy Andreas spotted a Rivian R1S out on the roads in California.
Why does it look so low riding?
I don't know. It could have been that it's a weight test. I mean, so yeah, but look at the camber of those rear wheels. Is it just me? Maybe it has air suspension or something. And
interesting.
I don't know. You don't want the camber to change that much because you'll get tire scrubbing.
Interesting. Our friend Priscilla from Oklahoma sent us this update about the Broken Arrow Police Department getting their first electric vehicle, a Tesla Model Y. It appears they drove one for a week and it convinced them to buy one. This will also be the first all-electric vehicle police patrol vehicle in the state of Oklahoma. Big shout out to Officer Chris Walker, who gave a great interview with local news. I think we're seeing a huge change coming on the horizon. You can check out that link down below.
And then Chad got this amazing shot. Can you guess what it is?
Are we being invaded?
He was driving through Pennsylvania, close to New Jersey, and he got a shot of a SpaceX Falcon launch.
Oh, that's the Falcon 9.
Yeah.
Well, you can see it from there?
I think it was like shooting north to do like a polar Starlink orbit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chad.
And then our buddy Jeremy said that after adding 39 solar panels and 1 Powerwall last year with 2 more Powerwalls on order, he said that he couldn't afford a Tesla. Instead, he picked up a used Ford Focus Electric and an electric lawnmower. So far, he's loving both.
39 solar panels.
Nice.
That's a big system. Wow. Nice,
Use
Jeremy.
it to charge your 2 other new toys.
And then our buddy Dejan just picked up his new Model 3 in Brisbane, Australia. He let us know that it is made in China. So this confirms that Giga Shanghai is now exporting.
Very valuable to know.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews, and these are sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. If you're looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla, check out Evannex and use our discount code NowYouKnow to save you $10 on purchases over $100.
Einen wunderschönen guten Tag, Zack und Jesse. As you can hear, I still drive a gasoline car, but took the liberty of stopping by for this Supercharger review. Welcome to Verviers in Belgium, directly to the border of Germany, Aachen, where I live. And this is the only supercharger in this whole region here. So we have 50-kilometer circle where no supercharger is placed. And as you can see, it's an 8-stall V2 supercharger with plenty of traffic, with a lot of Teslas coming in and out because we have a motorway here. And yeah, it's pretty full. It's Sunday, and yeah, no one else is here on the parking lot. The shops are closed due to the pandemic. In the background, you can see the highway entrance and exit to the city of Verviers. This makes it very easy to reach the supercharger from the motorway. We have also a cinema, many stores, and in 3 minutes by car you are in the city center of Verviers. I would rate this 6 out of 10 because, as you can see, it's even on Sunday it's full and people have to wait. And it's just a V2, so just 120 or 150 kilowatt. And yeah, it could be a V3 or maybe 16 stalls, so people have more to choose from. Many greetings from Verviers, Belgium, to you, Zach and Jesse. Now you know. And by the way, I plan to buy a Model Y when Giga Berlin, just 400 miles away, is completed. So when I go there, I will make a video and let you know.
Hello, this is Lukas from Austria. We are here in Kapfenberg, Styria. We have a 12-stall supercharger. It's right next to the highway. It's a nice location with 2 cafes next to it. And also there's a little Tesla lodge that is dedicated to Tesla drivers. You have a code where you can enter to the lodge, and there you can have some coffee or play some music and just chill out. It's a really nice place. I would give it a 9 out of 10. And it's a beautiful surrounding with a lot of snow. It's good.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. I'm here in Albert Lee, Minnesota at the Trails Travel Center. There's my Model S Long Range Plus charging in the 3, 6, 7, 8 stall supercharger, 150 kilowatts here. It has a McDonald's, hotels, a lot of options for food. It has a coffee place. But the best part about this station that is brand new is there's not only a supercharger here from Tesla, but also a fast charger, 150 kilowatts. Very nice writings on the floor, as you can see. And it's from Evannex. It has a CCS on that side and a Chatham on this side. So this is a great option for people traveling from Minneapolis to Des Moines, Iowa, or vice versa. And there's also a couple of Clipper Creeks stations here. So I'll give this station a 8 out of 10 just because of the options. Now you know.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, this is Chris and Lila. We have a new Model Y and we don't want to do a supercharger review, a supercharger here in Orlando, Florida. So what did we do yesterday?
We went to Grandma's.
Yeah, we went to Grandma's. So Grandma's house is about 100 miles. So yeah, there's 300 miles in this car, 200 for Grandma, and 100 miles around Orlando so far. So brand new Model Y, but so yeah, this is mini stall. Was it I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 stall. Nobody is ever here, but nobody's here is because if you can see behind me, there is a movie theater and some ice cream shops and some restaurants, but they're pretty far walk and not like gas station, like easy access to like facilities. So I'd say maybe there's lots of available superchargers, but the amenities aren't great, so maybe 6 out of 10. Thanks, now you know.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. This is Michael from New Zealand. We're at the northernmost supercharger location in a city called Whangarei, which is in the northern part of the North Island of New Zealand. This is a 4-stall, 130 kilowatt charging station. You can see our cars just there charging. And This is our family behind me. That's why we've got a 7-seater. And this is a great location. It's a very short walk to the main shopping area through a little tunnel on the side of this area here. And I'd give this Supercharger probably a 8 out of 10. And now you know.
I love the Supercharger reviews. That was awesome. All right, it's time for new Superchargers. What do we got in the world?
We have the 8-stall version 3 in Orangeville, Ontario.
The 3-stall version 3 in New Taipei City, Taiwan.
The 12-stall version 3 in Newnan, Georgia.
The 12-stall version 3 in Winter Park, Florida.
The 8-stall version 3 in Philadelphia at Church Street, Pennsylvania.
The 16-stall version 3 in Frechen, Germany.
The 8-stall version 3 in King George, Owens Drive, Virginia.
The 8-stall version 3 in Brinkley, Arkansas.
The 12-stall version 3 in Hamden at Dixwell Avenue, Connecticut.
The 12-stall version 3 in Marietta, Georgia.
And the 6-stall version 3 in West Bridgeford, UK.
I'm seeing a trend here. They all seem to be version 3s lately.
Yeah, 250 kilowatts.
All right, it's time for the Patreon giveaway. We're giving away a $30 gift card to EcoWare. And to get yourself into this big barrel of fun, just support us on Patreon. The more you support us, the more you get in the barrel. Who's our winner this week, Jess?
Our winner, Alex Taylor.
Congratulations, Alex. You're going to be getting a $30 gift card. So maybe you can get this awesome Shanghai Gigafactory t-shirt.
Or you can get the Gigapress. Now that the Gigapress is even stronger.
And you know, I want to thank somebody, our buddy Dave, who sent us this. I know you've been eyeing it all week.
Yes,
This
I have.
is the Cybertruck Hot Wheels. And I knew he would not be able to.
What? We're going to keep a toy in a box. Why would you keep a toy in a box? It's a toy.
Yeah, you got to play with it.
You got to play with it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it.
And by the way, this is EV Dave we're talking about, so go check out his YouTube channel where he has awesome videos on all sorts of Tesla-related stuff. And while Jesse's unpacking his Cybertruck there, I want to thank you guys, the patrons. Scrolling by here are these amazing thousands of patrons who make this show possible. If you'd like to get your name on the list, support us over at patreon.com/nowyouknow for $5 or more, and we will do your shout out and get you as the shout out list here at the end of the show. Because without you, the show doesn't happen, and we can't play around with Cybertrucks at the end of the show. There's a lot of packaging here.
No batteries in here. Wait, what's this section?
Will it run on 18650s? Because
it has a lithium-ion battery in it.
In
How
the
cool
car?
is that?
Oh, and then it charges off this?
Yeah, but we need like double A's, and I need a screwdriver.
Oh, well, we've thwarted you.
Next week, you can see me play with the Cybertruck. We have to go do that. See you next week. Now you know.